So, last week Andor got caught by some kind of Baywatch stormtrooper character people or whatever, and they were like, 6 years in prison for Andor. And I was like, I can't imagine he spends a single second in prison. I am interested to see how he breaks out of prison. Is it going to be some kind of prison break sequence? Is he going to pull a Michael Schofield? Will there be tattoos on his body of the prison break? What are we going to do? Will he have some kind of secret brother that is also bald? I suppose in this circumstance, he would then also have to be bald. Shockingly, Andor doesn't escape prison this episode, and shockingly, he's not bald. We spend the episode in some kind of sci-fi prison. It kind of feels like a film student's sci-fi prison. It felt a little generic for me. It felt Star Wars-y. Sure, there was like sci-fi elements going on, but it did kind of feel a little generic to me. This might have been one of my least favorite episodes of the series. The show is clearly doing another 3-part, little arc thingy. So this is definitely the middle episode. So it definitely has that kind of classic trilogy feeling of, oh, we're in the middle and we're just kind of like shuffling things around. We had the beginning last week, the setup, and we'll have the climax and the finale and all the epic stuff next week. But I have to be honest, this one felt a little bit all over the place. I think the main Andor prison plot was the thing that let it down. We didn't get any really interesting, exciting characters. Last arc with the heist, I felt like all the characters were really interesting. I was really engaged with what they were doing, how they were doing it. I was interested to see what they had to say about the world and the rebellion, to see where we're going with this series. This one felt like a weird kind of backseat kind of episode where it kind of sat down and just went, I don't know, Andor's in prison and all the prisoners, they have to build a thing. And then there's a sci-fi thing and it's like, beep, boop, 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 boop. If you don't do the thingy in the thingy time, you die. And I'm like, this feels like the worst version of Squid Game. This feels like the worst version of that film Circle or The Circle or whatever it is. That horror film where it's like all sci-fi or whatever. It just feels like the worst versions of sci-fi concepts where it's like, oh, all the prisoners have to do a thingy and they have to compete against the other prisoners doing a thingy. And if they don't do this kind of mindless task thingy, they die and it's evil. And you have characters like committing suicide by stepping out of their prison cells and things that I feel like were meant to have kind of significant emotional weight that I felt like were just moments that happened. I don't know, I just think this episode kind of felt a little flat to me. I'm still loving Andor. I love the fact that his rebel friends were coming back to his homeland and they're just waiting for him because they want to kill him because he knows too much. And the idea of them just sitting there watching his friends all freak out about, their lives and stuff. And they're just sitting there being like, I can't wait for Andor to come back so we can kill him. Parts of the episode do really, really work. I do really enjoy Ramsay Bolton's younger brother, Rent-A-Cop, and he finally met, I said I'd remember her name. I don't want to check. There's a comment and he said it. I don't want to check. I looked just before I started recording. It's just... Supervisor Miro. Let me double check that's correct. So Supervisor Miro finally meets Budget Rent-A-Cop, up himself, probably a prefect at high school, Ramsay Bolton's younger brother. That character, he'll get a name if he deserves it at some point. And they finally meet. A good mate of mine was like, I cannot wait for them to meet. I 100% guarantee you they will both meet and they will converge and their storylines will intersect. And I was kind of like, oh yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Now you phrase it the way you have. I always kind of thought maybe he was going to think he was a bad guy. Like, ooh, I'm evil, I'm Empire. Ooh. But he would kind of be forced into the rebellion via the Empire just kind of treating him a certain way and pushing him down a certain way. And I thought that'd be really interesting. But it does appear now, no, he is just going to be anti-Andor. There's going to be Andor and him, and they're going to rise up in their different little ways and be antagonists and protagonists to each other, or whatever. And that's a little bit of fun. I really did enjoy the scenes with Miro, Lady Empire Lady. And all the scenes with Supervisor Miro and Budget Cop Ramsay Bolton's younger brother. He has too many name things that I'm trying to do. That guy, I'll just put his face on the screen. This guy! And all their scenes really early on were really, really exciting. And I was kind of like, we are up for a very exciting episode. And then about 15 minutes in, they didn't appear again. And it was like, oh, we're just gonna spend time in generic sci-fi prison. Star Wars generic sci-fi prison. And I don't know, it really felt off to me. It felt like one of those generic sci-fi Netflix films where they're just like, the big sci-fi alien robot, and it speaks into the speaker system, and like Andor's looking around and they're all putting bits together of this thing, and I'm like, we didn't even get a reveal to reveal what they're building. Like, it would have been nice if it revealed that they're all building like TIE fighters, or they're building like weapons of mass destruction of some kind of sort. Maybe they're putting pieces together for the Death Star in the future, or just something that made it feel a bit more like horrifying or interesting. It just felt so like, I don't know, it's like, oh, I get it, they're just slave robot people, but it just didn't really have that kind of gravitas and emotional kind of like weight that I feel like a lot of the rest of the series has had so far. Not to say I didn't like the episode, I really enjoyed a lot of it, but I found this one to be a little lackluster compared to the rest of them so far. I don't think that makes me go, oh no, Andor, it's in trouble, I'm scared for Andor. It's going to be a really great series. It's already been so good that it can't really, it'd have to be pretty bad from now onwards to make me not enjoy it. I just think like this one was a bit like, oh, okay. I just want to see more Rebel stuff. Like, Papa Skarsgård has one fantastic scene where he really wants to try and reach out to Andor and all the other boys. Other character he interacts with, she's like, you've gone crazy, Papa Skarsgård! And she just like turns off all the systems. She's like, tell me to turn it off. He's like, okay, turn it off. And then they turn it off. And like, that's a really great little scene. All of Mon Mothma's stuff is really fantastic. We keep getting just really fantastic stuff with Mon Mothma, where she just wanders around parties trying to be all like inconspicuous but a spy undercover, and her and her husband's relationship is really good. Her and her relationship with all the characters in this is really tense and suspenseful and interesting. I feel like I want that for every scene, and all the Prison Andor stuff just made me go, fine, just cut back to Mon Mothma please now. Honestly, it really does hurt me to be kind of negative, and I'm really not trying to be negative. I didn't hate this episode or anything. I just think the last 3 or 4 episodes have been so good. That was so good. This one didn't really kind of grab me in that same way. It really felt like that middle episode. It really felt like an in-between, just kind of nothing episode. I hope that Andor gets out of prison. I want to see more of this rebellion forming. I want to see more of this action and excitement and drama and kind of character interplays over the rebels that are going to kind of create the rebellion that we know Luke kind of joins in A New Hope. I don't want to see just a bunch of random guys in prison. I mean, maybe they'll help the rebellion. But at this point, none of them excited or interested me in the way that we have in the first 7 episodes. That being said, I did very much appreciate the fact that they cast Gollum in this episode. Gollum's in this episode. Gollum is like one of the prisoners, but he's like a guard as well. He's like a prisoner, but he's like chief prisoner. That's a guard. It's a disturbing part to play, and it made me upset that he wasn't a hero. I understand that Gollum is not necessarily a hero, so you don't necessarily need to cast Gollum as a hero. I was still very upset that Gollum was like a villain in this episode. It made me upset. He did things. I'm like, I'm upset. I want to like Gollum. I want to be like, that's Gollum. I like Gollum. My precious. That's a bad Gollum. Brett. Nope. My Brett. Nope. You know what? It's just not the night to do Gollum impersonations. I don't know what that is. Just believe that I can do a fantastic Gollum impression if I don't have the pressure of the camera and literally nobody standing around me. But apart from Gollum being a character that they cast in this show, this episode, a little bit meh. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment below. I'd love to know what everyone thought of Andor Episode 8.